Is CIE 0625, part 3 of the predicted paper. In part 1, we have covered from question number 1 to 15. In part 2, we have done question number 16 to 30. Now, in part 3, we are going to cover from 31 to 40. Over here, before proceeding that, we can see that we have done chemistry based on the same concept of predicted paper. We have done 5-part series. In that, we have covered 75 questions and 28 questions were repeated in the paper of version 2. Same on the case, we are coming up with biology and physics. So now this is part 3 of physics. Let us continue with that. Question number 31. The average current during the lightning strike between the cloud and the ground is 1.5. So the current is given as 1.5 times 10 to the power of 4 amperes. The energy is given as 3.0 times 10 to the power of 8 joules. That lasts for a time equals to 2.0 times 10 to the power of minus 4 seconds. What is he asking? What is the electromotive force? So we know that Q equals to IT, but energy equals to nothing but what? VIT. So we want V equals to energy upon IT. So energy is 3.0 times 10 to the power of 8 divided by I is 1.5 times 10 to the power of 4 and time is 2.0 times 10 to the power of negative 4. So we can see how can I simplify 10 power minus 4, 10 power minus 4 gets cancels. It becomes 3.0 times 10 power 8 upon 3.0. So 3.0, 3.0 gets cancels. 1.0 times 10 power 8. So which is that option? Option C is going to be the answer for question number 31. Coming to question number 32. So what is being said in question number 32? A converging lens. It is a converging lens is used to make an image on a screen. Image on a screen. This sentence is itself says that if at all it is an image on a screen, it's going to be a real image. So we can know that it's a real image as soon as we see that the virtual image part C and part D are cancelled. So those two are wrong options. Now he's asking that what kind of image is formed on the screen. So we know that it is a real image. Now in case of a what is this convex lens, if at all it is on a screen, the real image will be always inverted. Remember, real image will be always inverted, virtual image will be always erect. So we are talking about the real image. So real image is always inverted. So option A is correct and option B is going to be wrong. So that's going to be the answer for question number 32. Coming to question number 33, a torch has a simple circuit with 3 volts of battery and a lamp. There is 20 milliamperes of current in the lamp. How much energy is transferred to the lamp in 5 minutes? So we know that again. What is the formula? Energy equals to VIT. So the voltage is nothing but 3 volts and the current is nothing but 20 milliamperes. Convert that milliamperes into amperes. 10 power minus 3 times 5 minutes. Minutes should be converted into seconds, 60 seconds. So simplify that one. You should be able to get that answer as 18 joules. That's going to be the answer for question number 33. Coming to the next question, question number 34. The graph shows how the voltage induced across a coil changes with time as a coil spins in a magnetic field. The coil is spinning in a magnetic field. What does it mean? The coil is spinning in a magnetic field means nothing but what? We are talking about a generator. This question is talking about a generator. So the voltage graph is given over here. Voltage time graph is given over here. And this is going to be the frequency of the voltage time graph. Which graph shows what happens when the coil spins more quickly? So if at all the coil is spinning more quickly, means the frequency will be increased. Frequency is increased. So we can see that the frequency is not increased in option A and the frequency is not increased in option B. So option A and option B are wrong because the frequency is not increased. Frequency is increased only in C and D. Now what else happens apart from that? When it is what is this? When the coil is spinning more faster, so EMF generated is directly proportional to the rate of flux. Rate of what is the thing? It is directly proportional to rate of change in the flux. So I can write it out over there. The EMF produced is directly proportional to rate of change of flux. Means rate of change of flux, it is more faster it vibrating or free spinning. So there will be more rate of change of flux. More rate of change of flux means more EMF. More EMF means nothing but what? More amplitude. Amplitude will be more. So therefore option C is correct, whereas option D you can see that the amplitude is going to be the same. So therefore option D is wrong. So option C is going to be the answer. So what is the condition? It should have more frequency because it is spinning more quickly, and it should have more amplitude because more change rate of change of flux. That's the answer for question number 34. Coming to question number 35, an object of mass 60 kgs, it decelerates from 50 meters per second to 20 meters per second when the resultant force is 300 newtons. For how long does it take? So force is equals to nothing but what? Mass times change in velocity upon time, or mass times acceleration. So force is nothing but what? 300 newtons. Mass is 60. Final velocity is nothing but what? 20 minus initial velocity is 50. But because it is decelerating, I can use 50 minus 20. I can use 50 minus 20 divided by time. So 300 equals to 60 times 30 divided by time. So time equals to 1800 divided by 300, which is going to be 6 seconds. So what is going to be the answer? Option C is going to be the answer. Coming to the next question, question number 36. What is the best method to demagnetize a steel rod? So just now in the previous parts, we have seen that in a magnet, what will happen is all the are orderly arranged. Over here, they are orderly arranged. When they are orderly arranged, what is the thing is, we have to demagnetize it. Means we have to change this orderly arrangement. So how can we change this orderly arrangement? What is the thing is, pass a rod through an AC supply? Yes, we can pass through a rod through an AC supply, because what will happen is the alternating current will make it to change this disturbance or change the arrangement or disturb the arrangement. Part B, pass the rod through coil connected to a DC supply. A DC supply will be always passing through in one direction only. So therefore, it may not change. Place the rod next to the other magnet. There, what is this thing is, we have to demagnetize it. We need not make it a strong magnet. Our main intention is to demagnetize it. So therefore, placing the rod near the next another magnet is also not suitable. Stroke the rod with another magnet. Stroke the rod with another magnet will, what happens is, it enforces that this arrangement is much more stronger. I have to strike it with the hammer. If at all I strike it with hammer, this magnet will be demagnetized. So the best method to demagnetize is nothing but what? To striking with another magnet. So therefore, this option D is also going to be wrong. So only option A is correct. That's going to be the answer. Coming to question number 37, a man is talking at the side of a house. He can be heard by a woman at the front of the house, even though she cannot see him. What is the explanation for this? So he can be heard. So means what is happening? The sound waves from over here are getting diffracted. The procedure is nothing but what? The process is, they are getting diffracted and can be heard by the woman. So what is this? The main bending is the wavelength of the sound waves is matching to that of the size of the, what is this, house. Means the wavelength of the sound waves are longer and they are able to undergo diffraction, whereas the light is not able to undergo diffraction, and for therefore she cannot see him, rather than she can hear him. So what should be the option? Sound waves are longitudinal waves and light waves are transversal. That is a property, but that property does not help us. That property is not relevant over here. The property that is relevant is something to do with diffraction or something to do with the wavelength, not with the nature of the waves. So longitudinal and transverse, though it is correct, but the thing is, it is not relevant to this option. Sound waves are transverse and light waves are longitudinal. That is totally wrong. So they are the other way. They are longitudinal and light waves are transverse. Sound waves have a long wavelength and light waves have a short wavelength. Yes, that's going to be the answer. And sound waves have short wavelength. If they have short wavelength, they cannot be diffracted. So therefore, she cannot hear too. So therefore, option D is also going to be wrong answer. So the option C is going to be. Coming to the next question, question number 38. A model thermometer consists of a flask of colored water and a stopper with a glass tube passing through it as shown. The model thermometer can be changed in one of the two ways. The flask can be replaced with a larger flask full of colored water, or what is this? A glass tube is can be replaced with one with a larger internal diameter. So first of all, which statement is correct? So a larger flask is increases the sensitivity. So what am I doing it out is, I am replacing it with a larger flask. If there is replacing with a larger flask, I'll be having more amount of fluid. More fluid is there. More fluid means nothing but what? More expansion. Or what it is, obviously there will be the sensitivity will be increasing. So that is option A is going to be correct. Now what about option B and C and D? Are they correct or not? Only the only using the wider tube increases the sensitivity. Increasing the wider tube. So for example, if we make a tube wider, so previously, what it says, if at all we are increased for every 1 degree Celsius, if at all it would have increased by maybe 2 centimeters, for example. Now, because of the wider, tube for 1 degree, it may not be increasing by 2 centimeters, or it may be increasing by just 0.1 centimeter. So it is very difficult to calculate such small rises when compared to the one which is a thinner tube. So the widening the tube will not increase the sensitivity. So therefore option B is going to be a wrong option. Using a larger flask and using a wider tube increases sensitivity? So no, because both are wider tube does not increases. Neither using a larger flask nor the wider tube increases sensitivity. No, our intention is to increase the sensitivity. So a wider flask will be better. What is this? A larger flask is the better option to increase the sensitivity. So option A is going to be the answer for this question number 38. To question number 39, a gas molecule strikes the wall of a container, the molecule rebounds with the same speed. So if at all it is going with a velocity v, it is coming back with minus v because it is a velocity. Velocity will be having a direction. So if at all we take positive direction as the right side, so the negative direction is going to be minus v. What happens to the kinetic energy? So we know that kinetic energy formula is nothing but what? Half mv square. So we can see that half m, in case of the final one also, it's going to be minus v square, which is still is going to be half mv square. So it is still going to be the same. So kinetic energy is going to be the same. So the option A and option B are wrong. Now what happens to the momentum? Momentum is going to be nothing but what? Mass times velocity. So while going towards the right, it is mv. While coming back, it's going to be minus mv. So the momentum has changed. So therefore, option C is going to be correct and option D is going to be the wrong answer. So that's going to be the answer for question number 39. So coming to the last question, question number 40, the volume of a gas is measured at different pressures. The pressure and the volume V of the gas are found to be by the equation PV equals to constant. Basically, PV equals to nothing but what? nRT. Basically, PV equals to nRT, that's going to be the standard formula. Which quantities are kept constant? So see over here what it says. His constant means a tick mark and changed means nothing but what? A cross mark. So we have seen that the volume and pressure are being measured. So he is nothing mentioned about mass. So obviously mass is kept constant. Mass is kept constant. So over here we can see that in option B and D, he says that mass is changed. So option B is wrong and option D is wrong because mass is changed. So that is wrong. So option A and B. Now we know that PV equals to nRT. So nRT is nothing but what? A constant. So the temperature is also a constant. So temperature is a constant means temperature has to be nothing but what? In option A, it is changed. So option A is also wrong. So only I'm left over with nothing but what? Option C. So mass is not, what is this? Mass is constant. We can see that mass is a constant over here and temperature is also constant. So density is not changed because nothing has to be worried about density over here in this question. So therefore option C is going to be the answer for this question number 40. So that completes 40 predicted paper question. Hope so it may be helpful for to you. See you in the next paper. Bye.